Do you know who's been leaving the dead along the road? What they're keeping us from?
I've only been able to go so far.
Can you show us?
George Drake here, and today we're going to be breaking down the trailer for Season 5, Episode 4 of Fear the Walking Dead. Now, I'm not going to do reviews again until the main show in October, but I did quickly want to talk about Episode 3 of Fear the Walking Dead. It was good, it was entertaining, but I just feel like the whole story of this season has been hindered. Obviously, they weren't going to show loads of stuff about the CRM straight after Episode 1. If anything, in Episode 1 they showed too much. But because after that episode, things were so ambiguous, we've got the Roadblocks, Logan, and the CRM people, we just end up being really disappointed, because it turns out these kids are behind it. These kids put the roadblocks up, they're the ones closing the main characters in. But it's the biggest plot hole I've ever seen in any show. These kids have been seen on screen, visibly scared of the walkers. In fact, Alicia had to save the two kids in the first episode because they couldn't do it themselves. Yet in episode 2, at the end, we see that the same people trying to scare the group and close them in with the roadblocks are trying to scare them by beheading the walkers, by hanging walkers' heads on trees. And of course, we found out in this episode it turned out to be the kids, and it doesn't work at all. The writers of the Walking Dead universe put way too much faith into kids. Now, I completely agree with the concept that kids are the future of the show. Of course, they're the future of the apocalypse. But there's sometimes we just don't need to see them, and sometimes it just ruins a show. In my Q&A video, I even said these kids are probably some of the first kids I've seen in that universe that are really good at representing what kids would be like without getting all Lord of the Flies. And these kids aren't cringy at all, they're never hard to watch, but in the space of an episode, these kids that were effective by simplicity have just been turned into a try-hard villain, and I really hope there's some realistic reason behind why they're doing this, because if not, I do think the show's been hindered by these characters. And talking of the show being hindered, let's quickly talk about Dwight. It was quite weird seeing him at first. His character seemed to be a shell of what he was in Season 6. But all the scenes before he met with Morgan at the end of the episode, he seemed to move and act like a drug dealer that Jesse had met on Breaking Bad. Like, he genuinely looked and acted like a meth dealer. He's like someone you'd see in a montage when Jesse goes and deals his drugs. It was definitely really weird seeing him, but as soon as he met with Morgan again, you do start to see him a bit more like who he was in Season 7 before leaving. And of course, in Season 8, we do see him a bit more human, a bit more, well, he shows just a bit more of morality. But of course, he's been on the road for a long time by the time we see him in Episode 3 of Fear. So I don't think Dwight being so unrecognizable and just a shell of who he was in Season 6 is an accident. We find out he's been looking for Sherry all this time. But of course, that's always been his goal. That character now lives to find Sherry. Since we first saw Dwight, that's always been his goal, to just reunite with Sherry. And at first, when I was first watching this, I did think it would hinder the story quite a bit. With Dwight looking for Sherry, the main group wants to help him do that now, or at least John and June do. And I thought it would take away from the CRM storyline, which I just want to see more of, honestly. But it actually sticks with the theme that these characters want to help people. So it sticks with that, and it also sticks with the CRM theme. Sherry is running away from someone, and I think that someone is someone from the CRM. One of these armored soldiers are looking for her. So the storyline of helping people and the CRM is completely gonna intertwine. And of course, in Episode 5, we are seeing Al again. So I was a bit disinterested after Episode 3, but if you really look at it in hindsight, if you really have an overall look on what the show's trying to do, you'll find that there's quite... Now let's break down the trailer for Episode 4. So the first shot in this trailer is a group of walkers, in fact a herd of walkers, entering into Daniel Salazar's compound, or at least near it, because that's the main aim of this episode. The characters that are left in this area are going to be trying to hijack Daniel's plane. They're not going to try and kill him, but they are against him. We then see Daniel pull out a machete and walk towards the place where all these walkers were. It's literally opposite his compound, his warehouse, so I don't think this is where the characters are. I don't think he's going to to kill the characters. He's going this way to kill the walkers, and I think this is a distraction. I think this is how the characters will get the plane. They will send a group of walkers to this area opposite his compound. Daniel will go and clear them out, allowing the main characters to sneak in and get the plane. In the next shot, we see Max and Annie. We hear Annie say to Alicia, "You have no idea what's going on here, do you?" Because obviously there's some kind of overlaying story here. What is the real reason they are putting these roadblocks down? What would be the point of keeping these characters in? Or trying to scare them back in episode 2? It's really weird. There's so many plot holes here. Maybe these kids aren't the only ones doing this. I hope what it comes down to is Sherry's running away from the CRM, and so are these characters. They're closing in people, maybe even to protect them. But I'm not going to make any bold statements yet, purely because of how unpredictable this has been so far. I mean, now it's predictable, but the fact these kids were the ones that came down to be doing the roadblocks, literally anything could happen now, because I think it's stupid. Just after that shot with Annie, we then see this shot with Alicia and Morgan. They both seem to turn around pretty suddenly, so I think this could possibly be something to do with the CRM. Maybe this is where the kids go to see them, or to spy on possibly where they get on the helicopter maybe. We do see in the season 5 trailer, in a similar sort of place as this, Alicia and Morgan see a helicopter. So definitely expect some more about the CRM this episode. In the next shot, we actually see this in a sneak peek too. This is Strand and Sarah guiding Charlie to the plane. Of course, they are using stealth to get the plane, but what I think is going to end up happening, I just think Daniel's going to find them anyway. In the next shot, we see Daniel Salazar's cat, Skidmark, and I haven't actually spoke about this before, but this is a genuine new character in the show, and it's already better than fucking Charlie. Now, I think we all know Scott Gimple's writing by now, and I think we all know the importance this cat will hold. We see Skidmark lean up against a window with a load of walkers in it, and just before it cuts to the next shot, we hear Skidmark cry. It's like a cat scream. So I think it's likely what's going to happen, these main characters who are infiltrating the warehouse are going to save Skidmark, and I think that's why Daniel would help them. Or I think Skidmark's going to be the reason these characters are caught. It's going to be something like that knowing Scott Gimple. It's going to go one of two ways. Skidmark's definitely going to be the reason that Daniel Salazar trusts these characters and helps them. I do think Daniel would help these characters anyway. I think he's going to see Charlie, he's going to remind him of when he had Ophelia. I do think that's going to be something that comes up. Bearing in mind that would be the first time Charlie's character has ever had a positive impact on the show. But remember, Daniel Salazar isn't some villain, he's not that bad. He just has a reason to dislike Strand or not trust him, because he thinks he knows what Strand is like. He's got reason. In the next shot we see Morgan, and he's under one of those crow contraptions that lure walkers, that Grace set up of course, and he's got his stick back. So it's likely this is after we've seen Grace. I think Grace is going to make an early appearance in this episode, but I don't think she's going to be a long-lasting character at all. Remember, Grace did say she had taken in way too much radiation and is pretty much timed right now. I really don't think she's going to survive. She was introduced as a series regular, but I think this will go to show that you can't really hold the fact that someone is a series regular against their death. I remember back when I was predicting deaths for one of the seasons, people would always say to me, "Oh, she can't die, she's a series regular, he can't." But it doesn't matter. A series regular just means you're going to be on the series regularly. It doesn't mean you can't die. In the next shot, we see Strand and Sarah outside with the plane now. So they've managed to get it out the hangar. So mission accomplished. But just remember, I don't think Daniel Salazar is unaware of this. I think he's going to realize that it's not just Strand being selfish. I mean, he's got reason to think that, but I don't see Daniel denying all these people that aren't Strand access to the plane when he could be helping people. Like I said, he's not a bad guy. I do think Skidmark's going to come into play in terms of trust, but I think he's going to see Charlie and think of Ophelia, and possibly look at Wendell in the wheelchair and see that he can actually help people. Now, this is what excited me. This is what got me interested back into the show. They don't have to show loads of stuff about this, but just some of it. The next shot, we see a mysterious figure just walking across, just in the distance. And as we look closer, it is a CRM soldier. Now, you might not think it, but this is a lot of information. This soldier is carrying a gun. We originally thought from episode 1 that they didn't kill, that they didn't have actual weapons, because we just saw them have this weird pitchfork kind of weapon on their back and a taser. And we see they are walkers on the ground, so they do kill walkers. This is why I didn't talk about the walker drone theory, because I just don't believe it. I mean, it's good. I think I would have liked to thought it could happen, but I didn't go and make a big video about it because there's just not enough to talk about, and I just think one episode could disprove it all. So I don't think these people in the armor are walker drones, like robot walkers, but maybe the reason this CRM soldier killed these walkers is because they're not strong enough. Of course, the walker drone theory suggests they're looking for strong walkers. They're looking for strong people, and I still think they could be looking for strong, fresh walkers and strong people, but I don't think they're walker drones. What's interesting to know is the armored soldier we saw in episode 1 didn't have a backpack and didn't have a gun, so I think he's got this from Althea, and in the season 5 trailer we see Althea captured, so I think it's fair to say this could be the same one. In most of the pictures we see released from AMC about this soldier, they normally have this ancient looking pitchfork on their back, like this magical pitchfork, but this soldier has a backpack and a gun, so I don't think he's actually still belonging to that place. He's either kicked out from that place or just on his own mission. I don't think we're gonna see or go where this person comes from, but I think we're gonna hear from this person itself what it's like there or how they do things. It's gonna really help, but of course I don't think we're gonna get that until episode 5. I think this episode 4 is purely gonna be based on the whole Strand situation mainly, but in episode 5 I think that's when we can expect some answers, or at least a lot more about where Rick is and who these people are. In one of the last shots we see this window that Skidmark was leaning at smashed, and the next shot shows a pistol, a gun falls to the floor, and this looks like Annie's shoes. In fact, in the next shot we do see this is Annie and Max is trying to get the walker off of her. I think this is completely possible. Annie gets bit and Annie dies, leaving Max and Dylan to their own to join the main group. I don't know whether she could get bit right now or not. I think it would help the show if she did, because Max and Dylan could be good characters. They can still be saved from this stupid idea to make them villains. I'm not betting on Annie being bitten right now, but I think it would be such a good way to bring Max and Dylan to the good side and just not have the story be hindered any longer. Of course, we are seeing Althea in episode 5, so I think the rest of the season could be focused on the CRM. And don't forget, the mid-season finale is called Is Anybody Out There? The same words we heard on the radio at the very end of season 9, the very last minute of the finale. So I expect something big will happen in the mid-season finale, so some stories do need to be wrapped up or tightened, and with Annie being some villain now, for whatever reason that may be, I just do think it's going to hinder the story. So now would be a good time to have Annie get bit, because do you really see Annie going over to the good side like Max and Dylan most probably will? I don't think she would do that. And the walker that's on Annie in this trailer does have intestines wrapped around it, so it would be quite poetic and just fitting if Annie was bit by her own creation, her own roadblock. We then see Althea's van, obviously driven by Strand or Sarah, power slide on the road or get to a sudden stop, and I think that's because Daniel Salazar is walking on that same road. At the end of this trailer we do see Daniel is walking on the exact same road at the exact same time, and you hear walkers, like a walker herd behind Daniel, so I think Daniel is leading the walkers away from the compound. He didn't take them out in the end. So another way this could go, these walkers that went to Daniel's compound did distract him, but it wasn't the group's intention. It worked in their favor, but I don't think that's what they wanted. It was just luck. And remember, this season is all about helping people, so I think when they see Daniel in the road, they save him, and that's how their trust is earned. Daniel thinks Strand is selfish, but when he stops in the road and saves him, I think this is how they make up. Now we get a really small, like literally 1 second shot in this trailer, not even that, of Alicia and Morgan laying down with the same wind that a helicopter would make going on them, and they look really shocked. Maybe they see another CRM helicopter. Maybe that soldier is going to that helicopter. Maybe he's calling them. If this shot is in this episode, which it's got to be if they showed it in the trailer, we're seeing a helicopter, a CRM helicopter in fear. You may think this might be another filler episode, but I think there's so much to be seen from the CRM this episode. It will be small, but so big for what this means about Rick. Now we do also see in kind of the same area where Alicia and Morgan turn round suddenly, fast walkers. Now they're all tied up and they're being dragged by, it looks like Max. It kind of looks like Max on the right. Someone is definitely dragging them if they're going this fast. I'm playing this in slow motion. Here's the original clip. It's just a really quick shot. Now what's interesting about this is the exact exact same area Alicia and Morgan seem to have seen a helicopter. It almost looks like Max got these collection of tied up walkers from where the helicopter landed. The helicopter, of course, would have been from the CRM. So this is actually really in favor of my experiment theory. It's really likely. Of course, if this is just some walkers that these kids got, then fine, but we will be seeing the CRM, and I think this is a helicopter. So that's not my solid theory there yet, but like I said, we're probably gonna see a helicopter this episode, so be on the lookout. Of course, you know I am, so make sure you subscribe so that you are the first to hear about all of this. I'm watching these episodes and these trailers frame by frame, so if you're subscribed to me, you're not going to miss anything. But what do you think about this episode? Do you agree with how I've said things will go down? How much of the CRM do you think we're going to see? Do you really think this is a helicopter like me? Do you think Alicia and Morgan are going to see another helicopter? Obviously, we won't see Rick Grimes yet, because this is set slightly before the time he was taken away, but we're going to be seeing similar helicopters to what took Rick, if not the exact same. On the top right of your screen, you're going to see an eye icon. Just click or tap on that and you can vote in the poll. Do you think this is a helicopter or just something else? Do you think they're going to hold back on showing any more of the CRM until episode 5, when of course we see Althea? Vote in the poll, and of course let me know in the comments what you think. I try to read all of them. Remember, I upload every Tuesday after an episode trailer breakdowns for the next one. Of course I try to get about 4 videos a week done, but trailer breakdowns on Tuesdays are just guaranteed, because that way everyone has seen the episode by then and all the sneak peeks are out. Of course, if you enjoyed the video and you want to support me, make sure to press the like button. It genuinely helps. In about 10 seconds, some video is going to pop up on your screen. Of course, last week's video is all about something big happening in the mid-season finale for Fear Season 5. Something to do with Rick. So make sure to check that out. And of course, before that, my Q&A video, which we talk about Negan finding Lucille, Maggie versus Michonne, and when Rick will return, if he ever does. So make sure to check them out. Make sure to subscribe so that you are the first to hear about The Walking Dead. Thanks for watching. See you soon.